The Gina and Maddie podcast.
We love it when you call in. This is your show. This is your show, Central Coast, and you can deliver us with some gold right now after you hear what Gina Jeffries has to tell you.
You won't believe this, Maddie. A little girl in North Carolina told her parents over and over that she had a monster in her closet. Well, they found out it was, in fact, 50,000 bees in the wall. So this mother of 3 children under 4 years old was met with a terrifying surprise after she and her husband investigated why a handful of bees had been flying up into the attic of the couple's North Carolina home. So after a visit by a pest control company and multiple beekeepers, a thermal camera finally revealed where the bees had gone to a massive hive they'd built inside the wall of her daughter's bedroom where the girl... Can you imagine? The 4-year-old, she's convinced there's a monster in her...
And I've had my kids tell me that. Oh, I think there's a monster. You're like, no, there's not.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
No.
There. It's okay. It's okay. You're going to be okay. No, 50,000 bees in the wall.
50,000. So it took 8 months for the swarm of honeybees to build a hive inside the wall. And a beekeeper, he came to have a look. He didn't even have his gear on yet, but he took a hammer, knocked into the wall, and bees came swarming out like a horror movie.
Oh, my God.
Streams of bees. And where the wall was hit, oozed out blood-coloured honey. Can you imagine the horror? Really dark blood-coloured honey.
That kid is never going to sleep again.
They also found a 45-kilogram piece of honeycomb. I wonder who got to keep that.
Oh, I love a good bit of honeycomb.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Covered in chocolate. That's a big one, though. That's the size of a dog, isn't it? Like 45 kilograms. That's a big one. So they relocated the bees to a sanctuary somewhere, but it cost the family over $20,000 US to get rid of the bees and then get the wall fixed. I mean, how would you ever? Because when you think.
It's like a scene out of Candyman, that horror movie.
It's very
where it's
scary.
Candyman, and the bees come out of that guy's mouth.
Similar.
Anyone?
But, once you got, wouldn't you have another, I've never seen a horror movie in my life.
No,
but once you got rid of the bees, then you got the honey problem, because then, you know what's going to happen? Ants come marching one by one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Maybe that's what I could do for Ziggy's ant farm. Anyway, that is horrific. But we thought what we could do here, Gina, is open up the phones. What have you found in your walls?
Hey, Jess, what did you find?
The story goes, I was sitting up watching TV one night and I could hear a scratching sound. And I was kept looking out the window to see what was going on. And I couldn't see anything. Oh, yeah, whatever. Anyway, a blue-tongued lizard popped his head out from behind a bookcase. He'd managed to circumnavigate the lounge room, and then while I was hearing this scratching sound, and popped his head out. At first I thought it was a snake.
I bet you did.
That moment where you thought it was a snake, oh my gosh, your heart must have stopped.
There was a very big beating, pounding heart, a big squeal, and a shit.
What do you do? How do you get a blue-tongued lizard out of your house?
You run down the road and get the neighbour to do it for you.
That's what I would do too.
Who else we got, Gina?
Hey, Karen. How you going, Karen? What have you got in your house?
I was quite little, and my sister and I shared a bedroom. We had bunk beds, and I'd gone to bed early. Mum and Dad were in the lounge room, and I could hear this rattling noise, and it's stormy outside. Mum and Dad come inside, rattle the windows. Just the windows, you'll be fine. I did it about 3 or 4 times. They were quite sick of me by then. Go to bed, turn the light out. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed with my eyes like, deer in headlights and my ears like that. And all of a sudden my wardrobe door starts opening.
Oh, my God.
What?
I was having a conniption. My brother stepped out.
Did you punch him?
Pretty much after I hit my head on the bunk because I jumped so high. So I still, to this day, am petrified of sleeping in the dark. So,
Hey, Alexander.
What have you found in your walls?
Okay, so it wasn't actually in my wall. I was home alone one day, just me and the dog watching TV on the sofa, and it's a very low-down sofa. And I was about a movie and a half in. I looked down on the floor, and right where my hand is hanging was a snake.
Ah!
No!
A curled up snake, and in this moment, I'm looking at the snake, I'm looking over at the side of the sofa, I've got the dog sitting next to me, and I thought, the dog's going to try and go the snake. I was shitting myself. And so really slow motion, I get up, I grab the dog, I run to the other side of the room, and I'm like, how am I meant to get this snake out of the house? So I went and got one of those long-handled dustpan and broom things.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this is amazing.
Work. So I ended up locking the dog in one of the bedrooms, and I went back to try and scoop the snake, and it was just swirling all over itself. And then it went into the front wall.
No! Is it still there?
I don't know. I contacted the snake catcher man, and he said, was it, what colour was it? And I said, it was a horrible green colour. He said, what colour was the belly? And I said, how the bloody hell would I know? I wouldn't pick it up and look at it.
Gina and Maddie.
We have one of the country's premier journalists working with us. She's the fantastic newsreader you hear at the top and the bottom of the hour, Susie Thompson. Sometimes, though, Suze does the news and she doesn't use all the news. So there is some news left over that Suze doesn't use. So this is where I bring you the news that Suze didn't use. I almost nailed it. Almost nailed it. All right. Actually, I'm going to kick things off with some news that Suze did use. The Central Coast Mariners have been crowned A-League premiers for the 23-24 season after a wet and wild 2-0 win over Adelaide in the final match of the regular season at our paradise.
Your A-League 2023-2024 premiers, the Central Coast Mariners!
Confetti cannons going off left, right and centre, and a decent crowd turning out as well to cheer the lads on. After a nervy opening, it was defender Jacob Farrell who stamped himself into Mariners folklore in the 36th minute, scoring his second goal of the season.
Ballard! It came unstuck for Adelaide, and
That's Max Ballard's goal. This is the Farrell's goal.
And Farrell, the Mariners have their goal. Jacob Farrell takes the credits. Gosford loves it as the Mariners put one hand on the trophy.
Gosford loved it sick. They went mad in that 36th minute when Farrell scored that goal, and it was the 76th minute where we just heard Max Ballard scoring the clincher.
Danger here, Ballard! It came unstuck for Adelaide, and Max Ballard, his scoring run has coincided with what is surely going to be a golden era of trophies for the Central Coast Mariners.
The jewel in the coast's crown, the Mariners. Now, there's no rest for them. They are off to Oman today or tomorrow for the AFC Cup final. Then they return for the A-League semi-finals May 18 here on the coast. Let's see what else is making some news this morning, Gina. 7-Eleven set for a new change under new ownership across Australia. The CEO of 7-Eleven has hinted at some big changes to the renowned brand with a Japanese influence on the cards. Japanese retail giant 7-Eleven International took control of 7-Eleven Australia late last year. CEO has said that a Japanese-inspired makeover is on the cards for the small shops here in Australia. They are the high mark around the global network, he said. The way they present themselves, the store standards, and the way they operate is just seamless. We've got to learn more from them. Now, with you seeing that the Coles Express and the BP Wild Bean cafes and the fooderies taking over, 7-Eleven have been left behind. The food in the Japanese 7-Elevens is incredible.
Really?
It's like it's not like going to a servo to get food. Even though like servo food now compared to what it was is so much better.
So much better. When we were touring back in the 90s, it was terrible. There's maybe an old sausage roll and a Chico roll.
Yeah. And you don't even know what's in a Chico roll, and no one wants to know what's inside that Chico roll. Could you imagine getting a bit of fuel and this coming out with some ramen as well? You're like, that is so good.
Yum.
Or some dumplings, like a little... Billie Eilish has announced the ticket prices for both her tour in Australia and around the world. Many fans desperate to get tickets. I had my sister on the text message going, hey, bro, got any contacts? The tour hits Australia next summer, so that's summer 2025. The cheapest D-reserve tickets, this is where people are blowing up a little bit, Gina.
Yeah.
The cheapest D-reserve tickets start from $129 and prices go all the way up to $269 for A-reserved aisle seating. Regular GA standings tickets will get you $200 for regular standing tickets.
How does that price compare with Taylor Swift tickets?
Well, for example, Taylor Swift tickets, she charged $40 less for nosebleed tickets. Right, and Taylor's doing almost a 4-hour show, 18 years of music. So there are a lot of people blowing up online about the price of Billie Eilish tickets, but the fans will pay it, I reckon. But that's so expensive. I remember going to gigs, and you're like the cheaper tickets were like $49 or $39 for the nosebleeds, and the expensive ones were like $150.
Yeah, it's a lot now.
So much, but the way the industry is going and all the insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's expensive to put a big show on.
You know it. Rebel Wilson has claimed she was snubbed for a role in favour of Melissa McCarthy. Did you hear this?
No.
Okay. So the Australian actress Rebel Wilson, who is telling anyone who will listen about her new book, she originally auditioned for McCarthy's scene-stealing role in the 2011 comedy Bridesmaids. You remember she
That's
played
my
the
favourite movie of all time.
How good was Melissa McCarthy in Bridesmaids?
I love her. She was
She's
hilarious.
on the plane. She's on the plane. And she's got a leg up and won't let the marshal get through. Anyway, she
And
was
he's her
iconic.
husband, right?
That's her husband,
Yeah.
absolutely. So Rebel's telling people at the Palladium in London on Monday that she actually auditioned for Melissa McCarthy's role, and they were always going to give it to Melissa because they were her friends.
Oh. Yeah, it's not
Really?
what you know, it's who you know.
Well, that's exactly right. I missed out on being captain of the Australian cricket team because Pat Cummins knew the coach.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Exactly.
I missed out on getting fullback for Manly because Turbo knew DCE. That's the and I missed out on being one of Taylor's backup dancers, not because of an ability. Look, Rocker said for 97 over here. It's just because I didn't know Taylor.
See?
Let's do one more. I know our boss Shane with a Y would probably like me to wrap it up, but I'll do one more. A 28-year-old Venezuelan man with the world's biggest feet. Producer Loz's eyes have pricked up. Have got some new kicks thanks to a German specialist maker, Jason Rodriguez Hernandez. There's a Venezuelan name if ever I've heard one. His feet have grown over the years. His right foot measures 15.79 inches and his left foot is 15.5 inches. That makes him roughly a size 26.
Is one a size 26 and one's a size 25?
Hey, mate, can I just get one in a 25 and a half? Can I just try that on and see how that goes? He is
Wow, that's
7 foot 3 inches tall.
He'd be good at water skiing. Do you think? I'm
Do you
sorry, I
reckon he'd need
shouldn't have said
skis?
that.
Do you reckon he'd need
Yeah.
skis?
Swimming? Doesn't need flippers? I shouldn't have also said that. But that's big. Come on.
It is huge.
Very big.
Size 26 feet. And I can't be the only one thinking it. Does he have custom-made socks as well? That's what everyone wants to know.
The Gina and Maddie Podcast.
For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.